and we're going to go ahead and get started. So I am about to take over your screen with our Dawn's Dialogue welcome slide. Angela, just since I can still see you, just thumbs up, you can see.
Yes.
The screen. Okay, great. Hey, we've got a great Dawn's Dialogue planned for you all today, but it wouldn't be a Dawn's Dialogue if we didn't start with our Quarant meme of the week. Some of the faces of these kids just gave me a laugh, so I thought I would share with you. This is going to be true, and I'm glad it's not our kids, but in 30 years from now, this is going to be the face as kids learn about 2020. There was another meme of it was like what we can look forward to in 2021, and it was this giant chicken that was like looked like it was plucking people on a beach somewhere. And I was like, I'm going to go with something that actually gives us a little more hope for the future, that it will be so confusing because this will be long behind us. But I hope this brings a smile to your face this morning as we get started. On the agenda for today's Dawn's Dialogue, we do have to start with some quick business for APC. There's a budget approval that's going to happen. And then you were going to hear a lot about how we are supporting students on our campus this morning. So student support services such as peer tutoring, college and career center, but also looking at some of the student reporting systems that provide that added layer of support and resource for our students in our community, as well as hearing about academy, technology, and some student activities updates. So it's going to be a great morning. You're going to be glad you're here with us virtually. You're actually probably glad you're not here with us in person, because that means you're hopefully home in slippers with a cup of coffee, just enjoying the show this morning. I do want to turn it over to Kristen and Angela. We also have Julie, the APC treasurer, on as well, who are going to walk us through the budget. So I believe when I open this, it should pop up for you. Are you guys seeing that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Kristen and Angela, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I'll start out. So yes, I'm Kristen LaBrosse. I am co-president of the Akilani's Parents Club with Angela Ketchum. And every fall we present to the general membership our budget for the year. And by general membership, the only thing you need to do to become a member is anybody who's donated to the Parents Club, regardless of the amount, you are a member. So if you would like to vote on this budget and are not yet a member, quick like a bunny, go to Akilani's Parents Club and you can donate. And then by the end of this call, you can vote. But anyway, I will let Julie Koo take over and explain and present our budget and the summary, and then we will come back on and we will have a quick vote, which will be an interesting process over the webinar. But Julie, go for it.
Kristen, real quick, sorry, Julie, to interrupt. I do want to let you know, Raina is now on as a panelist. So I don't know if you want to do a quick introduction, but she's here as secretary.
Yeah, Raina Foster is our secretary this year. So thank you very much for coming on, Raina. And she's going to be on the call just to record the votes.
Okay, thanks. I'm Julie Koo, and I'm returning this year as the Parents Club treasurer. And as you see posted of our 2021 budget, we have budgeted about $192,000 for income and same $192,000 for expenses. And we always try to net zero. Almost all of our income will come from parent donations and company matchings. And some of the expenses that are funded by Parents Club are peer tutoring, parents ed, staff appreciation, academic clubs, our college and career center, student climate and culture, which includes speakers, the diversity and equity inclusion program, and the Akilani's Community Always program. Last year, in comparison, we budgeted about the same, $192,000, but because school closed in March, we ended up with a surplus of $41,000, which rolls into our reserves, and we have plans to spend that this year on the following. Benches and picnic tables for when class can come back to campus and we can have class outside, some distance decals, main quad doors and railings painting. We're going to paint also a mural on the main quad. Lighting for the Performance Arts Center, campus cleanup, some Eagle Scout projects, and flags that are on sale on the web store. And you'll be able to see the detail on all these numbers on the budget copy that is posted.
Yeah,
So,
Julie, let me know if you just, I'm happy, I can just kind of scroll through, but tell me
Yeah.
to stop if needed, okay?
Okay.
There we go. So I think Kristen and Angela at that point, I don't know if there's questions coming in or if you just need to take a vote.
Yeah, so thank you, Julie. Okay, so yeah, so we need to get a nomination to vote in the 2020-2021 budget. And so what we'll do is, it's going to be a little bit confusing. So I think how we're going to plan on voting is we're going to first have a nomination. We're going to get a second on the nomination. Then we're going to announce what's been nominated and then ask for questions. So if you have questions about the budget, those should come through the chat room. And then after that, we're going to have everyone rate. How did we decide? Did we end up putting everyone's hands up and then they put them down?
Yeah, so I think what we said was, well, first off, we disabled the chat to make sure that all the questions and answers go through the Q&A on the bottom of your Zoom screen. So make sure if you have a question, put it in there. I actually think what might work best is if someone could raise their hand, we can promote to a panelist quickly, or I think we can actually allow an attendee to allow to talk, and we'll allow that person to talk and they can make a nomination to approve the budget. We can get a second on that, and then we'll do like an all in favor, and people can raise their hands.
Yeah, perfect.
And we'll see that as attendees.
Perfect. So. Thank you. I know we were working through this yesterday, so bear with us, everyone. Sorry, it's a new world we're living in. So, okay. So we do need a nomination to approve the 2020-2021 APC budget.
We do have one question actually first, which is wondering how much is budgeted for diversity and inclusion. And I can look up the exact number.
It's going to be $6,000.
Okay. So we need a nomination for the budget. I think I saw, so we just need someone to raise their hand to nominate.
I mean, it could be.
Oh, we've got Kelly Daggs, so I'll allow her to talk here. Talking permitted. Kelly, let's see if this works.
I think Kelly's on mute.
Oh yeah.
She's muted herself.
There we go.
Is that, can you hear me now?
Now we can.
There we go.
Okay. So nomination on the floor for the budget for 2020-2021 as presented by Julie Koo.
So now we need a second.
Diane Archer, I think, has seconded.
Okay, great. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you to both of you.
So we have a nomination on the floor to approve the 2020-2021 APC budget. Are there any other questions?
I don't see anything in there.
Okay. All right. So all those in favor, did you see one now? No? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Seems so awkward. I'm sorry. They're going to raise their hand in the chat, right? Or in the. Okay.
Yeah. So we've got, I mean, there's a lot of,
see it, so
there's 26 hands raised
Perfect.
at the moment. And I think Raina, you said you need at least, do you see, they need to be members, right? So
yeah,
I think you just need to count up to quorum.
yes.
We should be good.
So I've got 28 so far is what I can see until I think.
Okay, I think we're good then.
Thanks.
If you, I mean, we can, with 28,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, now we're at 31.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sorry, it's going up so quickly.
That's
Okay,
fine.
that's great.
All right, perfect. So, okay, well, so then motion passes for the 2020-2021 budget school year. So thanks everyone for your hard work and your patience and working through this.
Do we need to ask if there were any nays?
Oh,
I mean, I realize it's
I
going
guess-
to probably vote. I mean, it's going to pass at this point.
yeah, I mean, I get, yeah.
If you're asking Andrea Powers, she holds really tightly to Robert's rules, and she would say, yes, you
Okay,
have to
so
ask.
all right, so let's ask for nays. I'm sorry, again, everyone, this is so confusing and different, but if we can raise your hand now if you have a nay.
All right, zero.
So we're good? Okay, all right, so now it officially passes. Thanks everyone so much for all your hard work and patience.
Okay.
On to the show.
On to the show. Well, first off, before we do jump on, I just want to say a huge thank you to Akilani's Parents Club, but to the community for being so generous and supportive with your resources to enhance the education of our students. What you just approved, I know Julie reviewed it quickly, but there are some pretty, I would say, essential line items on there that are providing resources for our students. So everything from professional development opportunities to learn how to effectively use Canvas and online engagement and social emotional learning support for our students. That's a big chunk of that money. To the speakers that we're going to bring in. We're really excited for some speakers coming in October who are going to help facilitate our cohorts and add to the positive campus and or positive culture and climate, even virtually, trying to connect and engage with our students that way. And just, we know that the physical location makes a difference. So trying to gear up as much as possible to be ready to return to campus. We've already purchased through the reserves. I think it was about, Andrea, you saw the quote, but I want to say it was like $5,000 just of like nice Akilani's tents that can be set up so students can meet outside. We're using them already for some different aspects of things on campus. It covers things like the benches and stuff that we'll be able to have outside for those outdoor classrooms as well. So we know that all of those things make a big difference and impact on our students. And so thank you for your support of our community. Okay, with that, I know Raina and Julie, you probably don't want to stay on as panelists, so it sounds like a demotion, but it's not. I'm gonna change your role to an attendee so that you don't feel like you have to stay on as a panelist here. So thank you so much. Okay, we are moving forward. I'm going to take back over your screens again because we have some really great information, and we're about to hear from our lead counselor, Ann Schonauer, who is going to be talking us through the counseling department at Akilani's and what it looks like under distance learning and some of the resources they're providing. So, Ann, go ahead and just tell me if I need to advance a slide forward, but I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're really excited to be here. So just to remind you, here are the 4 counselors. We're a great team. We have a lot of experience and we work well together. So I think your students are in good hands, no matter who their counselor is. And we're excited to, especially this year, just to not have any changes in our staff. So we're starting strong. Next slide. So counselors, what do? We are here just to support the emotional, social, and academic development of our students throughout their 4 years. And I love that we get to meet our students before they're even our students officially. We meet them in 8th grade and we get to know them all the way through their entire 4 years of high school. So we spend a lot of time meeting with students individually, talking about all kinds of stuff, including motivation, study skills, relationships with friends and family, college and career planning, just a little bit of everything. We also provide grade level advising in more of a group format and parent information sessions for every grade level. And we collaborate with teachers and administrators to support students. And we're involved in the campus in a lot of different ways as club advisors, cohort leaders, various committees and planning things. So we're around. Next slide. Oops. Just a little overview of what we do throughout the year. The first quarter of the year is, the first few weeks is really busy with back to school stuff, enrolling new students, schedule changes, all that sort of thing. And then we're focused on our seniors and helping them get their college apps in, writing letters of recommendation, doing information meetings. Of course, we're meeting with all students of all grade levels throughout the year. But that's kind of our main task for first quarter. Second quarter, still kind of working with those seniors. And then our attention really switches to freshmen, ninth graders, focusing on how they're adjusting to high school, continuing to build that rapport, working on study skills. Usually by, second quarter, things are starting to click in. Kids are understanding things a little bit more and have some questions that they just weren't ready for in the beginning of the year. Then third quarter, spring is always really busy for us. We are meeting with our juniors, focusing on, they're starting to think more about what happens after high school. And we are doing course selection for the following fall. And we're going out to the middle school and starting to meet with those 8th graders. And then fourth quarter, prepping for the next school year, checking in with our sophomores. Sophomore year is always an exciting year. There's a lot of changes. They're starting to drive. They're starting to be more independent. They're starting to plan exciting things for summer. So that's a fun time to meet with sophomores. And then seniors, just making sure they make it through that finish line, get signed up, get ready to go for what's next for them. So that's our year in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. I want to make sure that if there's any questions, we can take those questions now. We are using the Q&A feature on Zoom rather than the chat feature, so you can feel free to type your questions in there if you have any. But before we move on to our college and career advisor, I also just want to do like a public acknowledgement of the amount of incredible work that our counselors had to do this year. Coming back, we didn't know what the year was going to look like when we left. Well, first off, we left in March, and as you know, and then didn't come back until the new year was starting. So not knowing what it was going to look like, there was so much work that had to go in on the counselor end to get schedules finalized. We had to shift our process and wanted to allow students to see their classes and make sure if there are any changes, trying to get that done as early as possible because we knew it would impact cohorts. And ultimately, we know we are hopeful and hoping that we can return at some point this year in a hybrid model, but we needed to have our classes set to even start talking about that process of what that was going to look like. So on top of all the normal things that the counselors had to do, they also had to condense like really 5 or 6 days worth of work into like a 48-hour, 36-hour window. And they just worked above and beyond. So a huge thank you to Anne and her team who helped to make that happen. So thanks again, Anne, for that. And we know that the work continues as we do look at hopefully trying to return in some form of a hybrid model. We know that will impact schedules, and we're going to have to add that into the workload of things that we have to continue to do. But we have a dynamic team who's equipped and ready to take that task on as soon as possible because we all want to see our students back on our campus. So yeah, there's a lot of work there, but Anne, thank you. Anything else before we move on?
Yeah, thanks, Travis. I just wanted to say, I know students are so used to dropping into the counseling office when we're in person, and it's hard to get in touch with them sometimes. And I think we're all figuring it out, but all counselors have emailed out their Zoom link. We're trying to have appointment slots after school, during 7th period, at lunchtime, during academy time. And we're happy to schedule other times as well, as long as students aren't missing too much class. So really just, help your student find us if they think that they might want to talk to us, or if you think they should talk to us, we're happy to help. It is a little bit of a learning curve for everyone, especially students, to try and get used to making appointments instead of just dropping in. But yes, and I think we're missing that. That's our favorite part of the job, is meeting with your students. So.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. There's a question that came in about access to the slide deck. Is this something we can post on the counseling page of the website so that people can see it? If it's not, it might actually already be up there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and post this so that people can access this slide deck as we go, but really appreciate it. So Anne, thanks again. And one last thing before you go, I know you talked about the senior appointments, reminders to parents about what can they do and what should their seniors be doing, because I know you've sent out multiple times to sign up for appointment slots. Can you speak to that real quickly before you jump off?
Yeah, so we are working closely with Ms. Reicher to kind of overlap helping seniors with their college apps. For seniors, many of them need a counselor letter of recommendation as part of their application to college. And so they should be making an appointment with us to ask us for that letter of recommendation, especially if they need that letter by November 1st. We really want to see them by October 1st, before October 1st. And yeah, I think the meetings have been really productive, the ones I've had. Sometimes it's a quick 5-minute screen share of, how do I fill out this section of the Common App, or how do I link it to Naviance? And we can get a lot done in a pretty short amount of time. So yeah, we're looking for those seniors, especially if they need that letter. They need to ask us.
Okay, awesome. Anne, thank you again so much for being on, and people can reach out if they have more questions, but thanks for your time. So
yeah, thank you.
As soon as Wendy starts here, I'll demote you from a panelist.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and joining us as a panelist is Wendy Reicher. She's our fabulous college and career advisor, and she will go ahead and start telling you a little bit about herself and how she supports students at Akilani. So Wendy, take it away.
Thank you, Travis, and thank you, Anne. I love that I get to follow Anne. They are an incredible team, and we do work really well together. I'm really fortunate to have them, and so are you guys. So hi, everyone. Thank you for letting me join your meeting today. My name is Wendy Reicher, and I am the Akilani's College and Career Advisor. This is my second year at Akilani's, and I do work closely with the counseling team. Just a little bit about me. I'm a UCLA graduate. That's my dog. Her name is Blue, ironically. Dawn's Blue. I have my college and career credential from Berkeley, and I'm also a 20-year resident of La Miranda. So it really is such an honor for me to work and live in my same community. Oh, we got a little dissolve action there. Sorry about that. So there's a tremendous amount of resources at Akilani's, and it's just imperative that I get that out to everyone to share with you all that we have to offer students and their families. We are great partners with the Parents Club. We just could not deliver this to you all without the support of the Parents Club. So we work hand in hand. I offer one-on-one appointments, and I want to express to everyone that is for all grade levels. So the majority of focus, of course, right now is on the seniors because they are getting out their college applications. But I really want to impress that if you have a 9th grader and they have just a burning question or a stress that I can alleviate, I hope that you will encourage them to email me for a quick appointment. I am happy to meet with any grade level. I do think sometimes college can be a very stressful topic, and sometimes just having the ability to have a 20-minute conversation at any point in the 4 years that they're at school can maybe alleviate a little bit of that stress. So my email address is here, but it's on all of the documents that you'll see that I put out. So I welcome emails from parents and students alike. The APc Newsletter, I hope you all are signed up for that. There is a college and career section at the bottom. So a lot of times people read just their students' grade level section. So be sure to scroll down to the bottom of that. There's a section there for college and career. And I post a lot of really timely information and links to various things. There is a college and career website that's quite robust. We are on Instagram, so we're posting opportunities and fun stories. We have a Before I Was a Dawn series that we will be reenacting, bringing back fairly soon. One of the fabulous things we have to offer students is admissions reps visits. We had 150 colleges come last year in person. This year they're set up to be virtual. They run all day during on Monday when we have asynchronous learning. So we have around 150 schools that come and set up private meetings with our students. They are for juniors and seniors, and it is a way for our students to directly connect with the colleges, ask questions. It's a way to get the question out, what exactly is that test optional policy that you're doing this year? What if I can't take the SAT? How does that look for me with your school? And it's a direct contact to the schools. I work with students on their essays for college. We work together on building their college list. I help them with their letters of recommendation, and I offer academy sessions twice a week so that we can meet and collaborate as a group. I just want to share with you a screenshot of the fall newsletter that I put out. I send everything right now to whatever email you have registered through Aries. That feeds into Naviance, and that is what I have access to. So if you are not getting mailings from me, I would just make sure that we have your correct email information in Aries, which then is populated into Naviance. So just let me know feel free to email me if you're not getting my newsletter. That was sent out 2 weeks ago today. And another one will come out again in another 2 weeks.
Wendy, are parents able to also opt in? Like if they have it, if let's say you have one parent who is the registered user in Aries and for Naviance, can the other parent also then opt in and just get your newsletters?
I could probably update Naviance and add a parent email into Naviance. Okay. I believe there's an editing feature in there. If you're not getting it, email me and together we'll figure it out. Perfect. I'm getting pretty tech savvy.
Okay, perfect, great.
Okay, so the College and Career website is becoming more and more robust as time goes on. You'll see that I've linked here for you a lot of these things I'm mentioning. So on the left-hand column, you'll see that fall newsletter there. How to schedule an appointment is there, upcoming events. So if perhaps a friend of yours said, hey, are you going to that event or do you know about it? If you don't, that's where the Zoom links will be. College and Career 101 is an incredible compilation of links that should answer 90% of your college-related questions, senior planning, junior planning, testing, resources for researching colleges, and so forth. DVC is linked here. There's a number of links that are included. So if you're thinking that might be a great option for your student, or you want to reach out to DVC, that's all linked there. I really encourage students to work, and so I've included directions on how to get a work permit. Applying to college, that is linked to how to get a transcript, and so on and so forth. So this is just off the Akilani's main website under College and Career, and there's a tremendous amount of information there. I would check that for any of your questions. This is just a screenshot of Naviance. If you are, first-time parent with a 9th grader, you may not have heard too much about it, but rest assured, this is a tool for all grade levels. Everyone gets a subscription to it. There is one login, which is simply your student's AUHSD Gmail and password, and parents use that same login. It's a college preparation tool and ultimately becomes the tool we use for college application. So originally it can be for researching colleges, but eventually we connect to all the students' applications, and this is how we get the transcripts and the letters of recommendation to the colleges that they're applying to. So it's a really important tool as time goes on for you to find comfort working with it, and I am offering workshops all the time, and I'm happy to answer questions all the time on how to best use this really fabulous tool that the district funds for our access.
And I would just say to the parents listening, I've heard that I've gotten so much positive feedback on Wendy's like parent ed series on Naviance. So it really is worth taking advantage of if you're able to attend, because there's so much on here to use and to know about, but you need to know about it before you can use it. So Wendy, thanks for doing that.
Thank you. And I think this is the last slide. We offer a lot of parent ed events in partnership with the Parents Club. We offered a senior night a couple weeks ago. I presented that with Ann Schonauer, who you just met. We have a junior night coming up on October 6th. So these are all virtual, and these are for the students and their families to come together. They're generally Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. when I have events. We've also already done a testing night. So we brought in a test prep company who volunteered their time to kind of explain to everyone the process and what's kind of changed in the testing landscape since the changes with the COVID. We had value price college night, which we brought in a professional who talked to us about sourcing colleges that offer merit-based scholarship money and who have honors colleges, and really helped our community think outside the box of the usual colleges, especially when you're thinking about, cost efficiencies. We have a financial aid night coming up on September 29th. That's open to all grade levels. FAFSA night, which is how to fill out the financial aid form. That's probably most interesting to seniors, but anyone's welcome. Last year we did a military night, which was really well attended for those students who are thinking about that as opposed to Akilani's plan. We bring in DVC, and they actually handhold the students, and they help them register in February and March so that they get priority enrollment. And then, as I was mentioning, I do Naviance parent workshops. I just did one Tuesday night. That was really fun, and I felt like we got a lot done, and just look for more of those to come.
Yeah, awesome. Wendy, thank you so much for
You're
such a
welcome.
comprehensive overview of what you do, and you really do bring so much value to our school and our community. So appreciate all
Thank
that you do. All your hard work to make that happen. I don't see any questions that came in, but as Wendy had mentioned, she's always available for one-on-one meetings, and you can reach out to her with any questions. I know she's quick to respond and get back to people. So yeah, really just impressive work. You're a value add to our community. And I love that even though you had students that went to Campo, your dog was still Akilani's Blue. So I think you knew. Deep down you knew. So, yeah. Well, thanks, Wendy. I won't make you stay on as a panelist, so I'm going to go ahead and send you back to an attendee. And now I'm going to turn it over to one of our fabulous associate principals, Mr. Mike Plant. He'll be talking to us about some academic and tech support for our students. So, Mike, I'll go ahead and click over, and you can tell us what we need to know.
For sure. Thank you, Travis. And feel free to jump back in if there's anything you feel like I missed, Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Mike Plant. As Travis said, I'm one of the associate principals here. It's nice to virtually see you. It's nice to, I've actually been really enjoying this webinar format for Don's Dialogues, because there's 60 plus attendees now, and I think it would be kind of a tight fit in the CoLab Center. It's nice to be able to outreach to a few more people in the community. However, Zoom is always somewhat problematic for me, because I'm always somewhat hypnotized by how shiny my forehead is. So bear with me if I seem a little distracted over here. Anyways, it's not about me. Let me talk about student support. I would like to talk first of all about our peer tutoring program, which is an established and, well, let me say, as with everything this year, student support is slightly different. When students struggle academically or have academic needs that are beyond the classroom and they're on campus, they're kind of trapped with us, and we are able to corral them into the right areas, and we have great on-campus systems for that. So what we're currently doing through the start of this year has been kind of adapting those systems to, can they work in the virtual world, and how do they? And we're finding that they can work with some adaptations. So we have had a long-standing exceptional peer tutoring program at Akilani's that is run by Fran Taylor and Mary McCosker. And when we are on campus, it is exceptionally popular and very successful. They have worked really hard to make that program available virtually, and they have done their usual recruiting of incredible, usually older students who have experience of our classes on campus. So if a student goes to peer tutoring, they will probably be able to find someone who's had the class that they need help with, or even the teacher that they need help figuring out exactly what this teacher needs for a certain essay. The older kids have that experience. And Fran and Mary do a great job of picking kids who are not just intellectually able to help anyone else, but also socially aware, that there can be somewhat of an awkward dynamic for the person who needs help. You have to approach them in the right way. If someone comes to you and says, I need help with physics, you don't start with physics so easy, so these kids are well trained with how the soft skills as well as the academic skills. You know, we handpick the peer tutors. So essentially what I'm here to say today is that peer tutoring is still available. Mary and Fran have their full cohort of peer tutors, and they have done a lot of work to try to transition it to an online system. So all of the, I guess I should say they're available at these times that you see on the screen, which essentially is most of the asynchronous day Monday, and then any other time where they feel like kids will have availability. So during academy, during 7th period, and after school every day. And the way that works is the peer tutors are there, they log in, they're sitting in a Zoom waiting, and then when attendees come and ask for help, they pair them up with someone and they send them out to a breakout room. So this peer tutor is really good at math, you need some math help, go be with them in a breakout room and get that individualized help you need. So it's like having a personalized tutor, but without the cost. You know, it's free, it's pretty simple. The main issue I think right now is access. Is getting kids to the right places. So I have put all the links to these different time sessions. Essentially what I did is I created a Zoom link for each of those times. So there's a Monday Zoom link, an Academy Zoom link, and I put those in Teach More, which some kids know how to use well and they're accessible there. I also auto send an email with all of the peer tutoring links to every student's Gmail account every Monday morning at 8 a.m. So if your student needs some peer tutoring help, and by the way, the help they can receive is a combination of academic help, and also the peer tutors are pretty tech savvy. So if your student's having trouble submitting something in Canvas, or can't find where the links are available for a certain teacher, that's another thing peer tutoring can accommodate. That's you know, that kind of low level tech help. They can't really help with like, my Chromebook's broken, you know, that's something that I'll talk about in a slide or two, but they can help with low level tech needs. So if your student needs that kind of support, that kind of academic individualized help or low-level tech support, I would suggest you have them go to their Gmail inbox, where they will see multiple emails from Mr. Plan, all of which have the links to these sessions in there, and then they can just click on the appropriate link at the appropriate time and show up, and the peer tutors will manage them from there. Or actually Mary and Fran, I think, greet them first, ask exactly what they need, and then the peer tutors tag in. So I've heard excellent feedback from students who have attended the peer tutoring sessions, but I've also heard from the peer tutoring staff that there are times when tutors are sat there and no one shows up, and in that sense, I wrote on the screen here, it's underutilized. This is something I would really like to try to get out to the community, that we have the capability here of helping. I think it's going to help that grades came out this week. Once kids start getting official grades, I think there might be a little more impetus for like, oh, I'm realizing I need some help with this math. So that was the point of talking to you guys today, was that this is available.
Yeah. Mike, I think the only thing that you've missed, because I do think you gave us a comprehensive overview of peer tutoring, is this is 100% funded through Parents Club. And so it's the generosity of our parents approving the budget that we just approved that pays for not only the staffing salaries of Fran and Mary, who coordinate that, but the resources that they need to also have successful tutors, both in person and online. So a huge thank you again to the parents who make that happen.
Yes. Thank you for adding that in, Travis. I really
appreciate that. For the parents listening, again, it's just that encouragement for the students to use it. We do a report out at the end of the year as well, where you hear how often it's used and the data behind the peer tutoring, and it's so impressive. So really, hundreds of students are using the peer tutoring program, so it's not something for students to feel, I guess, that block of like, I don't want to be that student that shows up and says that they need help. Really, and I mean, like literally hundreds of students are.
Oh, hundreds. Yeah, there really isn't a heavy stigma attached to it in any negative way. It's established, and the kids are so kind, and it's a wonderful program. Yep. Thank you, Travis.
Yep. All right, Mike, Academy.
Yes, I'll talk a little bit about Academy. So there's I wanted to first delineate the difference between a couple of different things that we've called Academy this year. There's the Cohort Academy, which happens every Monday and is mandatory. The kids have to go to that, attendance is taken, and that's where we're delivering certain like school-wide curriculum that we want every student to be a part of, like the racial equity lessons. Then on Wednesday and Friday, there are the virtual academy for like student support, like academic support academies. That's Wednesday and Friday from 9 to 9:45. Attendance on those days is not mandatory. However, it becomes mandatory if the student is what's called tagged. That means that in a system called Teach More, a teacher has selected that they would really want a student to attend this session for some kind of individualized help. It might be to finish a test. It might be to talk about your essay so you can rewrite it. It might be you were absent and I need to catch you up on a lesson. So they've tagged the student for some productive reason. And to me, that makes it mandatory. At that point, the kids should be showing up to the academy that Wednesday or Friday, whenever they're asked to attend by the teacher. The way they receive that tag, there's a couple of different ways. One way is if they go in Teach More, if they know how that system works, in their calendar in Teach More, the tags show there. The other thing that the system has the capability to do is when the teacher puts a tag on the student, it will also email that student. I believe that email still goes to their Gmail inbox. So one thing I would love all you parents to encourage your students to do is find their Google Mail inbox, which is separate from their Canvas inbox, and they will be receiving messages in both formats for this year. So that's something that all students kind of need to know is there's a little bit more accountability put on them to check that email in 2 different locations and be responsive to it. We're working on things like trying to text students because we know that email is not a young person thing. But right now, that is how we're trying to communicate with our students. So encourage your student to know where their Gmail inbox is. So if a student gets tagged, they should try to go to Academy. Also, I have had some families say, oh, I wish you would make Academy mandatory. That decision has been made to not make it mandatory, but I think as a family, you can make it mandatory. If grades come out and you know your student is struggling in math, you know, my kid goes to WCI and has academic support on his asynchronous day. And when he struggled with his first math test of the year, we reviewed it thoroughly at home because I'm a former math teacher. And I also made him go to the Squire support time. And he'll be going there until his next math test. So I do think as a family, you can create a rule there of let's get up out of bed, let's go to these 9 o'clock academies, because to me, that one-to-one interaction or small group interaction with a teacher, to me, that's like gold dust. Like kids don't get that as they get older. And in university, they start really missing that, you know, when they go to college. So to me, that's something you can really sell as a family. Right now, the access to Academy is through a program called Teach More. So teachers post their offerings there. And in the posting, they put the Zoom link. Also, many teachers are putting the Zoom links on their Canvas front page, you know, and it says like, this is the link for Academy. So students should know how to access the different academy spaces, and if they don't, they should discuss that with their teachers. You know, progress reports came out this week, so we've kind of given the first few weeks of school to kind of settle into how distance learning is working. You know, and that's what we've done with Academy. We've kind of given the teachers some framework for what we think would work. But now, as grades come out, I'm forming a support team, a committee, along with the intervention TOSA, and we're going to try to formulate some ideas to make Academy even more accessible and efficient and productive. You know, we want to make sure that's a productive use of everyone's time, the teachers and the students. So we're thinking about possibly some incentives to attend. To me, the incentive is the one-to-one, you know, the small group help with the teacher, but also maybe if teachers are thinking about offering things like a test retake or a rewrite for an essay, those are the kind of things that they might say have to happen during Academy time to incentivize that attendance. You know, we're also going to try to implement some kind of buddy system. We had this thing called the ARC program last year. There was essentially a buddy system on campus where younger students were paired up with an older student who then kind of helped them navigate how they should use their academies. So we're going to try to reboot that in the virtual world. So we're working behind the scenes on trying to make Academy even better.
Mike, we've had 2 questions come in that I think would be great for you to answer live.
Okay.
The first one was around, I know you talked about access to Teach More, but can you speak specifically on, like, can they get there through Canvas and does it show up on their calendar? The other question that came in that I also think is a great question is the notifications for students getting tagged.
Yes.
So the question specifically is around the email that Teachmore
email.
generates, but how can they check if they've been tagged as well?
Okay, I will try to answer both those questions. So the second question about the generating of the email, yes, when a teacher tags a student, the system has the capability to automatically generate an email and send it to their Gmail inbox. It's a checkbox for the teacher. So as the teacher prescribes the tag, they check, please send an email. So the answer is that is possible, and we have told our teachers about that, but I'm not sure if it's being used to its full potential. We have encouraged the teachers to use that box. It is not yet, Teachmore is not integrating with Canvas. They do not have an inbuilt link, so we are still having to use kind of a dual system. So what we've told teachers is, if you tag a kid, you should probably also tell them in class that they've been tagged, or reach out to them through Canvas and let them know they've been tagged. And I think different teachers are kind of working through their own systems of how that best works. So the answer is, they should get an email. They also can go in Teachmore and look at the calendar, but it is separate to Canvas. The second question, I guess, was about if my student does not know about Teachmore. It is not integrated in Canvas, but I think if they check their Google inbox, they're going to see another nagging email from Mr. Plant that says something like Teachmore Access, and it describes, I made a video on how they get to Teachmore. There's a link under the student drop-down menu on our website. What I'll do is, after this meeting, I'll find that email that I've sent to the students and I'll send it again. So I'll make sure today that through Canvas and through Gmail, students are receiving an instructive video on how to access Teachmore and hence how to access Academy. So
yeah, I think I also think, Mike, let's also put that on our website, so parents, you're listening, and we'll include that link in this video that gets uploaded, so that you can also see how to access Teachmore and what it looks like. And to the question that came in regarding knowing if your kid's been tagged or not, the answer to that is I would utilize your student's username and password so that you can check Teachmore if you want to know as well. It's a simple username and password. But we know it's not a perfect system. We also know that we have to hold the flexibility there it is required for students to show, it counts as, or to show up to Academy if they've been tagged, it counts as instructional minutes. But outside of that, I do think there are just really high value sessions that are being offered for students to take advantage of during Academy. And I do think that a conversation at home could be, let's utilize Academy because this is a time to enhance your education. But again, we know it's not a perfect system, but we're hoping to continue to evaluate that and make that more effective. And ultimately, we are working with Canvas to see if there's any way to include a system where we don't have to go through multiple external links to use and to have an effective Canvas system. So we do hope, or effective Academy system. So we do hope ultimately that we can go through Canvas. I fumbled over those words, but I hope that it made sense for the people that were listening in. So Mike, I know, hey, can I just say, you have 2 minutes for this?
I'll go very fast. Yeah, okay. This slide's fast, Travis. Sorry, I know I'm verbose. The other thing I was going to say was a brief technology update. It's been an exceptionally challenging start of the year for our tech department. We've transitioned to a completely technological school, and we are not a corporation that has unlimited funding for technology. So our tech department, which is 2 people, have done an exceptional job, but I know there are still frustrations and wrinkles with getting on Zoom and getting on Canvas. So I wanted you to know if there's any kind of hardware issue. My Chromebook isn't working to its full potential. I don't have a Chromebook, or any kind of connectivity stuff. I think that should probably start with an email to me, and then I can direct you to where you would get some help with that. I'm sorry. So that's for hardware, for Chromebooks and such. And then if your student is having some kind of connectivity issue, they can't get on, we've created an email here, AHS Student Tech Help, and that goes to the tech team, and then they try to individually help that student with whatever their individualized issue is. I have another one of my auto send emails that'll be in their Gmail inbox. They should also have a Mr. Plant nagging email that's called like Tech Help that details this in your, so your students have received emails about this. I wanted to say a big thank you. We are the only school in our district that is funded to the level where we have a complete one-to-one, and that's through LPI funding. We are able to hand each of our students a Chromebook to keep for the entire year, which now more than ever was a genius thing for LPI to create, because schools that don't, you know, kids at home, they need their Chromebooks more than ever. So thank you to LPI. We have 1265 was the count of how many Chromebooks we have out right now. We have enough devices that if any are breaking, if your kid's Chromebook is not working correctly, we do have some repaired devices, and we're able to make replacements if necessary. And the only other thing to say is that we are coming towards, with some of our machines, they are coming towards the end of their life cycle. The Chromebooks have about a 5-year life cycle. So some kids have one that's in their 4th year. So they're getting there. So we are currently planning, and I will be working with LPI and Travis and APC on a sustainable plan for the future. How are we gonna kind of replace devices as we go so that we can keep this one-to-one, which is so important now, but has also been super useful when kids are on campus. The teaching that can happen through a device like that is so much more robust and rich than when I was in the classroom using just my whiteboard. You know, so. Okay.
And I would just add to that, for most of our students, it's working seamlessly, but we know for the 1 or 2 that are out there where it's not, how incredibly frustrating that is. And we are doing what we can to try to make that seamless so that you can get on. Part of the frustrations I know have come from, we've had to update some of the security processes as we go. So right at the start, when you learned one way of getting on Zoom, now suddenly you have to authenticate your Zoom account and make sure that you're linked with your AUHSD school's email. But that was for security measures. So at this point, we're not hearing that there are significant tech challenges, maybe 1 or 2 a week, if that, and it's usually some sort of either user error on the teacher end or on the student end. And as soon as that minor fix is tweaked, it's accessed. So we are starting to see it more seamless, and appreciate your patience and flexibility as we've navigated that. I want to turn it over to the other fabulous associate principal that we have on our campus, and that is Miss Andrea Powers, who's going to talk a little bit about some student reporting systems. Specifically, she's going to be talking about our new student reporting system that's called our Bias Incident Report. We did a really, really quick flyby overview of this in our last Don's Dialogue, and we promised that we would come back and do a little bit more detail. And that's what Ms. Powers is going to be talking about today. So Andrea, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Don's Dialogue this morning. I'm excited to talk to you today about BIRT. What is BIRT? BIRT is our Bias Incident Report Team, Bias Incident Reporting Team. We have come together at each site to have a team of staff members that are working together to address bias incidences that are reported to our site. Before we talk about it, the team itself, one thing I just want to point out to everybody is that our team and the BIRT process has 3 primary goals. Number 1 is to take care of the reporter. So if a student shares with us a bias incident, our number 1 goal is to make sure that we are taking care of that student and taking care of the report and the reporter. Number 2, we want to be keeping record of these bias incidences. We want to be keeping track so that we have some data that we can be working with. And then the third thing is to promote conversation about bias. We want to be promoting diversity and equity on campus as well. So as a team, we are going into every team meeting knowing that these are our 3 primary goals. These are our 3 primary tasks every time we talk. So who is your Akilani's Bias Incident Report team? Our team consists of 4 individuals. It is myself. It is also our counselor, Marissa Meadows, a teacher, Brian Smith, and our wellness coordinator, Alan Choi. We really believe that we have a different voices in this space, and we've already started meeting. So we meet once a week to discuss the incidences that are reported through the incident report, but anything that might come through the school as well. So some things might not be reported on the through the report itself. It's just information that is given to us, and that's what we talk about. We take every incident that comes to us, and we take these three primary things, and we discuss those incidents. Travis, before you do that, what I want to do.
Sorry.
It's okay. I forgot when we put this together that I won't have control, which is hard for me. So the bias incident form, I want to make sure everybody can see what it looks like, and I want to walk you through it. So Travis is going to click on that for us. So here is the district. It is a district-wide form. It is not site-based. So everything goes to the district. So if you go on, you're going to choose your school site, and you're going to scroll down. You'll see right there, if there's something immediate, you can contact me right away. And if you can't get a hold of me, you can always reach out to Mr. Plant, and you can always reach out to Mr. Bell. The next button will show you the form itself that you would fill out. All of this is required. So we have broken this down into three types of reports. You can either do a bias incident, general concern, or immediate safety concern. You're going to describe the incident itself, where it took place, give as much details as you possibly can, and then you can choose whether to remain anonymous or if you would like to put your information so that we can ensure to follow up with you. So that's our form. This is the most updated version of the form. Like I said, it is a district-wide form. So it's the same for all 5 sites because it includes ACIS as well. So what we do every time we meet is we review that form and review anything that's currently come up. The one thing I wanted to talk about too is 3 things that we're not. We're not a crisis response team. So we have our Sandy Hook initiative, which I know is also going to be talked about. That is our crisis response space. We're not a crisis response team. We're also not the thought or speech police. And I know for some, it's well, what does that mean? We're not here to manage. We're here to talk about care and concern and education and taking care of our reporter. It takes a lot to put this information out there, and we want to repair harm, we want to educate, and we want to work together. We're also not a disciplinary body, meaning the team itself does not manage discipline. The side piece to that is if there is discipline that needs to happen, that is something myself, Mr. Plant, and Mr. Bell will manage. But the team itself is not coming up with discipline action. Myself being a part of the team might take that on as well as Mr. Plant and Mr. Bell, but that's not what we're here to do. The report itself and part of what we're doing is also to provide transparency for the community. We want to make sure that we are holding ourselves accountable. We're keeping track of trends, and we're looking at those reports so that we can also talk about structural or cultural changes that need to occur. The next thing for BERT too is that this is district-wide, so we will come together as a district once a month to review what's happening at each site so that we can talk about not just how we can change that at our own site, but also how we can do it district-wide. Currently, since the bias incident report form was presented to our students and our community, which was back on through the first week of school, we've had a total of 12 reports submitted through the bias incident report. 11 of those reports were reported as bias incidences. I do want to point out that 6 of them all referenced one incident. 2 of them were reported as general concern. Some of you might be like, well, these numbers don't add up. I don't understand. It's because students can check multiple boxes with that. So for example, one of the bias incidences was reported as a bias incident and also as a general concern. So I just want you to be aware of that. Some of them are going to overlap. So 11 reported as bias incident, 2 reported as general concern, 4 reported as immediate safety concern, and then 5 of those 12 were reported as anonymous. And then to reiterate again, 6 reference the same incident. What I do want to share is that all of the reports, whether they were anonymous or not, have been addressed. There's been some form of follow-up. We've had administrative responses, and we've worked through them through the BERT team as well and provided follow-up and support, which, again, to go back to our primary goal, take care of the reporter. And when the situation comes up where we don't know who has reported it, we are finding ways to support and respond as an administrative team. And we want to make sure that we are keeping track of the data, and then also discussing as a BERT team how we can address these issues in a large scale, culturally and systematically and structurally. So that's BERT. If there's any questions I can answer, if there's anything that I can.
I think for the sake of time, thank you, Ms. Powers, for the overview. And we've responded to some questions in the chat. The only question that just came in was the timeline for follow-up.
Right. So yeah, so the BERT response, which is a great question. Anytime something is submitted, I get an email response immediately. So it's not something where we just check once a week. We meet as a team once a week. So as it comes up, if it's not anonymous, I would respond to the reporter right away and get to that reporter right away. So in regards to follow-up, as a team, we would meet, we meet once a week. If we need to meet again or sooner because of something that comes up, we will do that. But in regards to immediate follow-up and response, that will happen as soon as I get the email alerting us that we have a report that's come in.
Great. Thank you. I'm seeing the time. I know we're behind schedule here a little bit. I do want to just quickly highlight the See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting system, which is different than the BERT reporting system. We had some conversations at the district level on, do we maintain both systems or do we try to use one or the other? But the See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting system, which we just rolled out last year, does serve a different purpose. And what I would say before I'm gonna I promise I'm gonna fly through these slides just so you can see some images of it. But what I want to say before I get to any of the images or talk about any of the See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting app and system is that this is something that I think the perception from our community is that this app is used in partnership with Sandy Hook. And when that is known, the perception then is that this app is only for safety issues on site. However, that's really not how it's utilized at Akilani's and really in our district. While it can be and should be used for when there is potential threat or concern on our campus, part of why we are talking about it now and why we will change through or train our students through this process in a couple weeks, which you'll see, is because we also know that it's not just about the physical threat on a campus, but it's also about the care for and providing a resource for our students who are considering harming themselves or others. We know that this is a heavy topic, but it's so important for us to address and to make sure that our students know what resources are there. The reason why I find so much value in the SSARS is because it removes the sort of just call this anonymous tip line feature and actually immediately connects the student with someone who is chatting with that student in a way that can feel a little bit more safe and comfortable for our students, because it kind of feels like text messaging someone. And so I do think it provides support for that. And what we saw last year is 3 or 4 cases where this was used for just responding to suicide ideation or friends who are concerned based off of something that another friend had said. And so I do think this is something that's really important for our community. So I want you to see it as parents and to know that this is something we're going to be training our students on. And so there's some information here about the partnership, that this is a district partnership with Sandy Hook Promise. It is our 2nd year partnering with the Sandy Hook Promise. And part of what they bring to us for free is this anonymous reporting system. We have trained all of our staff on it. We also had to train teams, responding teams on this app, and that includes our local police. So Lafayette Police had to be a part of the training because their service might be needed. And so it's a comprehensive app that then connects any necessary parties that can help support the student in the school. And we are going to train our students on the September 28th cohort on that Monday. What the students are going to be trained on, the other aspect that I really love is it also trains our students on how to be aware of what are some of the warning signs or signals that should trigger for them. Hey, I might need to send in something and help support this student. So they are trained on that. It talks about how do you take action immediately, and then how do you say something to a trusted adult or use this anonymous reporting system. So it reviews with them the 3 steps, which is to submit a tip through this SSARS, how the triage happens, and then what the follow-up is. So this is what the app looks like. We tell students to download it on their phones. They can also access it through a website, and there is a hotline if they want to go that route. When they submit a tip, they do have to associate themselves with the school, even if they're reporting for a student that goes to another school, which they are able to do. The nice thing is, if that school is a part of the Sandy Hook Promise, that school gets notified. Otherwise, we try to contact the school with the numbers and resources that we have. The second step of that, so there's the triage component, which is where you have 24/7 crisis counselors who respond. And then they categorize that based off of the responses into life safety or non-life safety. And depending on that, that's how they then determine how to send that out. So the event, obviously, if we were on campus and there was the event of immediate concern about a student saw a weapon on campus or whatever there might be, that would be life safety, and police and like everyone would be notified right away and could start in the app responding with what steps that we're taking and making sure that the situation is dissolved and safe. And same would be true for suicide ideation. If it's non-life safety, we get tips on here. We got a handful, Powers and Plant. I'm thinking like maybe 5 tips last year around, I think I saw someone vaping in the bathroom. And so that obviously, while important and we want to step in and respond, isn't a non-life safety response that's needed. So then that gets delivered to the appropriate parties via text and phone call, depending on the situation. And then we have law enforcement and school teams that assess, intervene, and take the steps that are necessary. So those are the 3 steps with the See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting app. This is just what we walk them through the app, navigating the app, what it looks like. So when they go to submit a tip, they can kind of click all of these issues, and then they can type that in, and they're able to give names. None of it's required. They just put in what information that they do have, but that's kind of what it looks like. I know there's always concerns about people submitting false tips. When we first roll this out, they say to expect like, 2% maybe just false claims or tips, just to, I think students testing it to see what it looks like. But I can think of one last year that we had, and that was it. Mike or Andrea might.
I mean, 2 or 3, really not many at all. Yeah.
And we didn't get that many tips really at all. Anyways, I mean, no. but the tips that we did get, we felt were important and therefore worth having, even if it just can save one life. It's worth having, yes. Right? So it looks like this. You can attach pictures if needed. Then people will chat. It's all anonymous, and then it gets forwarded on to the school. So the benefits, we do think that just the education alone is a benefit. The fact that we train our students on this is important and a benefit, but we also do believe that it has a reduction in violence, suicide and cutting, bullying, drug use, and victimization, and more students get help, which is the point and essential. And it helps to create a safer and healthier environment. So we wanted you as parents to know about the See Something, Say Something app, because we will be training students at the end of the month. And then the slides and the presentation will be available on our website as well to access. So the last thing that I'll close with is just that it doesn't replace mandated reporting, that still is in place on our site, and it does not replace referring students to wellness or talking to a counselor or reporting a current concern to administration, which is all of the stuff that we've talked about today. And we also know that we needed the bias incident report to be able to track some of that other stuff that doesn't quite fit in a See Something anonymous reporting app system. However, if something were to come up through this SSARS and we felt like we needed to document it to have the data for the bias incident report, we would add that in ourselves and add that in. So I know there's a lot there and potentially some more questions, or I would just even acknowledge that maybe this brings up for you some fear and anxiety, but I share it all to let you know that we feel deeply the responsibility to provide a safe place for our students to learn the education that we believe is so essential. And we recognize the amount of trust that you're putting in to the school and to the staff to provide that for your student. We don't take that lightly, and therefore we have systems like this in place in order to provide, not only help promote that safe environment, but also to provide resources for our students over the course of their high school journey. So we're here to support you and your student. So reach out if you have questions or concerns, and we'd be happy to talk more about this as we go. So I'm not sure, I didn't see any of the questions come in, but they look like they are all answered, and I think we'll move on from here just for the sake of time. And I'm going to turn it over to, we have Miss Catherine Walton. I see she popped on, and why don't you do a quick introduction of our ASB officer that's joining us, and then let me know when I need to click through on the slides here.
Okay, great. You guys, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm Catherine Walton. I teach leadership here. I think this is my 7th year leading the program. I'm so happy to be back. And I'm also teaching ethnic studies this year, which has been wonderful as well. I have a student here with me, so I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll just jump right in.
So I'm using Miss Walton's link, which is why my name isn't there, but I'm Anna Yanikos, and I'm a senior at Akilani's on the ASB board, and I am the public relations officer. So I do like governing board reports and then Don's dialogues to kind of just inform everybody on what's going on at Akilani's.
So we just wanted to be here. Anna will be with you guys every month. I am happy to be here always, but I also want to respect your time. And I know that programming like right now looks really, really different. We are trying to be as creative as we can and connect your students with Akilani's. So we do have a lot of great stuff up and running. We're really excited about October as well. So Anna's just going to outline a little bit of what's happening now. I'm going to talk about clubs because they're rolling out next week, so super relevant. And then we're also going to just mention some ways that your student is hearing about these opportunities so that you can also confirm that with them when you see them. Okay, take it away, Anna.
So these are some of the different boards in leadership that are doing things within the next month. Community Outreach is doing a pen pal program at Stige, and Stige is our sister school, and so I think you can choose to write letters or send emails and just chat with students there who are in elementary school. And they're also doing a school supplies drive for Stige, a fire relief drive, and Friendly Faces. And Friendly Faces is their club that they do with room 510, which is the special needs room, and they just kind of have Zooms with them and play games, and it's a really fun club.
We're doing karaoke at lunch today, just as an example of something that goes on with Friendly Faces. So it's a great way to bridge that gap with that community of students, and it's really actually a very fun club. So that rolls out next week.
And then the Diversity Board has their next Student Equity Council next Friday during Academy. They had one last month and it went really well. Just like the discussion between students. I was there, I think it went well. And so I'm looking forward to their next one. New Crew is doing Frosh workshops every Friday during Academy, just to get freshmen kind of like involved in school and on the same track, since we're not actually on campus. And that's also been going well. And then they also have the class of 2024 social on September 28th. And then class officers are each planning a bonding once a month, or like at least once a month. And next week, the class of 2022 is doing a goose chase. And if you don't know what goose chase is, it's an app that you can download on your phone. And there are a bunch of different challenges that you have to complete, like with a team. We did it as a leadership bonding, and we were in teams, and it was really fun. And they're just like random challenges just to get people bonded. Like one of them was jumping into a pool with your clothes on for like 800 points. And it was really fun to watch my classmates do that, or like take a selfie with your pet with sunglasses on, like different things like that. So it was just fun to get to know each other. So I think the class of 2022 is doing that to kind of solidify their class. And then lastly, Student Life has a game night on Sunday at 5. And I think they're doing 3 different game rooms, playing different virtual games over Zoom, which should be fun as well.
All right. So I just want to outline a little bit about clubs, because I think part of the challenge, even just with what Anna was talking about, is how do you find the Zoom links? Where do you go? How do you log in? And clubs are, of course, we have those same concerns. And so we've streamlined it all, and we're kicking it off on Monday. So I'm going to outline it. We have 43 awesome clubs. I have been so impressed with them so far, and just doing the prep work with them. And for me right now, clubs are the best way for students to get connected to Akilani's. There's all different types of clubs, you guys. There's social, there's academic, there's equity focused. Anna is president of the Girl Up Club. There's service focused clubs, there's athletic, there's everything across the board. I think that every student can find one that they are interested in. All club meetings will happen next week. Next Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, every single club will have their first meeting. And my best piece of advice is get your student to attend 1 or 2 of those meetings. It's all over Zoom. They can log in, they can hear more about the club, they can get in with their communication system so that they know how to log into future meetings. A lot of our clubs use a texting system. Some use an email, most of them use some type of social media, but in order to get that information, they need to be at that first club meeting. So how's your student going to get this information? They're going to get an email from me on Monday, encouraging them to check the clubs out. They're all loaded on Canvas. Each club has made a video. The videos are so wonderful, sharing more about their club and why someone would want to join. And also your student is getting a spreadsheet where it has the club name, the meeting time, the meeting day, and then the Zoom link. So that all they have to do is when they decide maybe they want to go to Girl Up, they find Girl Up on the spreadsheet, and then they add it to their calendar and they click that Zoom link. So please have a conversation with your student about this. This is what, Mr. Bell, you can go on. I just wanted to show you in Canvas what this looks like. So the image on the right is each club has their own page. And then the image on the left is what the page looks like. So this is our Children's Hospital Club. So all of the info is posted about their first meeting time day. And then they've made a really great 60-second video about the work that they hope to do this year. So I hope that this is clear. Please also know that I'm always here to answer questions or connect your student or support them. If they go next week, great. If they miss the club meeting for any reason, please have them reach out to me if they can't get a hold of the club president. I'm always happy to meet with them individually and figure out what makes most sense for them. Anna, do you want to talk about October, or you want me to?
I can talk about it.
All right, do it.
Okay, so we're really trying to focus on connection with everybody who like on campus. Obviously we're not on campus, but like between staff and students and everyone in the community. And so we're trying to hold a lot more lunchtime events in the evening. And I know that we are going to support the fire stations and local hospitals by decorating them in the month of October, and then having a canned food drive at the end of the month. Ms. Walton just talked about this, but clubs will be up and running. And then on the AHS Don's Instagram, we're really working on highlighting businesses that are collaborating with the ASB card and just different people within the community. Ms. Walton, I don't know if you have anything to add, but.
No, I was just going to add that my goal is really to have every student connected to one activity by the end of October. So if that's not, if that goal hasn't been met for your student, please reach out to me. I really want to make that happen. All right, and then lastly, we'll go over it pretty briefly. Mr. Bell can change the slide, is about communication. There he goes, maybe. Okay, great. So here's how your student is getting information. I'm sending 2 emails a week through Canvas, one on Mondays and typically one on Thursdays, with updates on all of these activities and how to get connected. If there's like student trivia, students got an, or game night, excuse me, on Sunday, students got an email from me yesterday with the Zoom link and also an outline of what's happening. So that's the first place they can go. We do have all of these social media pages. I highlighted the AHS Dons ones and then the class pages. They're also a great outlet, but I also know not everyone's on social media. And starting in October, we are going to do a better job at making sure that all cohorts are giving announcements on Monday mornings, so that not only is it in Canvas, but it's also being told to them. And then the Daily Dawn and the APC Newsletter. So that's kind of how we're getting this out to students and parents. If you have suggestions on how we could be doing a better job, I'm always open to feedback, so please come my way. And I think that was it. So appreciative of you. Thanks for having us. I know you have a full agenda. Yeah, go out, have a great weekend.
No, there's always time. We thank Anna. Thank you so much for helping Ms. Walton, of course. Thank you for all the work that you do, but this information is so vital. And I do think anything that can continue to connect our students during this time is absolutely essential and should be first on the agenda, but we know that you are in class till 11. So we'll let that slide.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, thank you. I did want to acknowledge there was a question that came in about, I believe it's referencing the freshman seminars, or what we call Frosh Connect, on our campus. And so that will be rolling out into second semester. And then this other question about like the Zoom fatigue that has come up. I do think that we are, as soon as able, we will be working to try to bring students back on our campus. And we know that in some of those first rollouts of students coming back on campus, we envision trying to have clubs be one of those things that can come back on campus. We already have a system in place for clubs to meet. That's how any sort of like sports are happening on our field. It's actually athletic clubs that are meeting. So they're not officially affiliated with the school, but can meet in cohorts of 12 with one staff member leading, and those students have to commit to only being a part of that one group. So we are looking at how can we try to do something like that for some of our student clubs to try to create some connections. But with everything, it's just as a process of going through what does that look like on the county side to get approval for what is safe and healthy for our students. So we do anticipate and look forward to that, hopefully in the near future. But again, thank you both for being here and sharing with us. We always do, include any questions that were pre-submitted in our Don's download, and we only had one question. And I think it's a great question, and it is something for us to consider. But the question is around, are we doing any COVID-19 education with our students in the cohort classes? We do know that there is so much misinformation out there. So we included some of the safety information in what we called our student intro course that they had to do in their cohorts on that first week of class when they were going through some modules about the school system and programming. What this question tells me is that that's something we need to come back and continue to review with our students. And so we will start embedding more of this as we move forward into our cohorts. Specifically looking at cohorts in October, where there's going to be a little bit more of an opportunity for some of the student rapport and connection to be happening, that we can embed some like announcements and reminders about some of the protocols that are there. So thank you for this question that was submitted in advance. Because we're just coming to the end of the time here, 11:26, we got 4 minutes left. I want to do some quick announcements, and then if there's any last minute questions that came in, we can answer those. We do have 2 DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion events that are coming up. Next week is our book club. I sent an email out after the death and murder of George Floyd back in before the end of last school year, and committed to holding a book club on Ibram Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. That is happening next week. So we hope you'll join us for that. The parameters are really loose. You don't have to have had read the whole book. There's summaries that are out there that you can read. I think more importantly is showing up for the discussion and being a part of that. So we'd love to have you join us for that next week on September 22nd. You can find the information on the Akilani's Parent Club website. And then also on October 1st, we are doing our first formal parent ed event with Dr. Lori Walton. She joined us for the Forum on Race that we had a couple weeks ago as well. She's a dynamic speaker and presenter and has a degree in critical race theory and does a phenomenal job of helping to train students, staff, and parents on some of that work. So that's another thing that we'd love to have you join us for on October 1st. You heard Ms. Walton share some ways to stay connected and some of those resources. I wanted to highlight quickly that we are trying to keep our daily Dawn as relevant as possible. It comes into your inbox around 4 or 5 in the morning. We view it as like a morning newspaper. It will always have that day's schedule for you, but also have information for things that are coming up. We will never put anything in there that's like that day, because we know you might not get to it till later that day. So you should always get information before, but then there'll be reminders about events that are happening on that day. So I hope you sign up for that. On the left-hand side of our school website, there's a spot for you to sign up for communications from school, including the Daily Dawn. And then our next Dawn's Dialogue is October 16th. We'll have some other updates, but I think the hot topic for that Dawn's Dialogue will be our California Healthy Kids Survey results that we'll be reviewing in a more comprehensive manner at that Dawn's Dialogue. So I hope that you can make it for that one as well. But if not, nice thing about this format is it's going to be recorded and you can access at a later time. Okay, an hour and a half, we actually held to our time. It looks like all questions that have come into the Q&A chat have been answered. Kristen or Angela, is there anything else before we sign off here?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, a huge thank you. Again, thank you, Kristen and Angela, for your leadership with APC and helping make events like this happen. It's greatly appreciated. And to Mike and Andrea, I feel like you guys are like my wonderful sidekicks who help make sure that things are moving along. So I really, appreciate your engagement as well. To everyone for showing up, thanks for being here today. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.